It's funny how silence can feel loud. Especially at night. When you've moved into a new place. And everything's unfamiliar. The walls creak in ways you don't recognize. The floor pops in the hallway. Like footsteps that never finish coming. And the shadows? They seem to stretch a little longer. Even when the lights are on. I moved into that apartment during a rainstorm. The kind where the sky growls every few minutes. And the windows rattle like they're trying to whisper something. I wasn't running from anything. Not really. I just needed quiet. A reset. And for a while, I thought I had it. Until the third night. The hallway light had been flickering since I moved in. Just a bulb issue, I thought. But that night, when I got up to get a glass of water, I saw her. A little girl. Just standing at the far end of the hallway. No movement. Her hair was wet, dripping. Her dress was white, but stained like she had fallen in something dark. Her eyes. I wish I could say I remember her eyes. But they didn't look at me. They looked through me. And even though the hallway was silent, I heard something. A gurgling breath. Like someone who had forgotten how to breathe. They say children can't hurt you. That a child's ghost is nothing to fear. But when I saw her, standing there, silent, soaking wet, with her head tilted just slightly to the left, I knew that wasn't true. I moved into the apartment on a rainy Tuesday. One of those gray days that feels like the world's been holding its breath too long. I just wanted peace. Quiet. A place to start over. Something small, manageable, forgettable, even. The apartment was on the third floor. No elevator. Just creaking stairs that seemed older than the building itself. The rent was cheap. The landlord didn't ask many questions. And I didn't offer answers. It wasn't much, just a living room, a kitchenette, a tiny bathroom. And a bedroom at the very end of a long, narrow hallway. The walls were yellowed, like they'd been stained by time. The carpet was flat and quiet underfoot. But that hallway never sat right with me. Too long. Too narrow. It felt like a tunnel, like once you stepped in, you weren't supposed to look back. And the light overhead, it flickered. Not constantly, just enough. Like a pulse. Like it had a heartbeat. I told myself it was just nerves. Moving is stressful. And the sound of the rain. The kind that never lets up. It starts to feel like it's crawling down the walls. Still. I couldn't shake the feeling. Every time I walked past that hallway. Even during the day. It felt like someone was watching from the far end. Not threatening. Just, still. Waiting. You ever have that feeling like you forgot something? But it's not yours you forgot. It's someone else's memory? That's what the hallway felt like. Like I'd walked into a dream I didn't belong in. I didn't think much of it the first couple nights. Just the usual sounds of a new place. Pipes knocking. Footsteps from the neighbors upstairs. The hallway creaking when it settled. But the third night. That was the first time I saw her. Third night in. I hadn't even unpacked half my things yet. Boxes still lined the wall, unopened. I couldn't sleep. Not because of noise. But because something felt off. You know how a room feels when someone else is in it? That barely there awareness? That's how it felt in that apartment. Like I was being observed. Quietly. Patiently. It was 2:14 a.m. I remember because I checked the microwave clock on my way to the kitchen. I was just getting water. Walked past that hallway like I had dozens of times. And she was just there. A girl. 8? maybe 9 years old. Standing completely still at the far end of the hallway. The flickering light cast shadows across her face. But not enough to hide her eyes. She didn't blink. Didn't move. Her dress was white. Or maybe had once been. It was soaked through, clinging to her arms and legs. Her long black hair hung like dripping vines. Tangled, stringy, and dark as midnight water. I stopped walking. I froze. I didn't call out. I didn't move closer. Because something in me knew. She wasn't supposed to be there. She didn't look scared. Didn't look confused. She looked deliberate. Like she'd been waiting for me to see her. Then, without making a sound, she lifted her hand. Just a few inches. And pointed. Not at me. But at the bedroom door behind me. I turned around. Instinct. I looked at the bedroom. The door was cracked open just a little. And inside, I swear I saw the edge of a second shadow. Moving. Just barely. When I turned back to the hallway. She was gone. I blinked. And she was gone. Just vanished. No footsteps. No rustling. No breath. The hallway was empty again. But it didn't feel empty. It felt watched. I stood there for maybe 10 minutes. I couldn't move. I didn't even drink the water I came for. I just backed away slowly. Turned the hallway light off. And sat on the couch. Staring at that long tunnel of shadows. I didn't sleep. I didn't even try. Because I knew. If I closed my eyes, I might open them again. And see her. Closer. I left the lights on that night. Every one of them. Kitchen. Bathroom. Living room. Even the microwave clock glowed brighter than usual. But the hallway light? That one flickered out around 4:30 a.m. And it never came back on. I called the landlord the next day. Told him the bulb went out. He said, that hallway's always been strange. Then he said something else. You seen the girl yet? I asked him what he meant. He just laughed. Said it was probably nothing. And hung up. I thought maybe it was just a bad dream. Maybe I was exhausted. Imagining things. But the next night. I heard her. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Humming. A quiet, broken little melody. It didn't come from the hallway. It came from inside my bedroom. The door was still shut. I hadn't opened it all day. I didn't want to. That room had started to feel wrong. Cold. Like the air didn't move properly in there. But the humming kept going. 4 hours. Like she didn't need sleep. Like she was waiting. And had all the time in the world. I didn't go in that night. I slept, barely, on the couch. Blanket pulled over my head. And even then, I felt like she was standing just outside the fabric. Listening. The next morning. There were wet footprints in the hallway. Small. Barefoot. Leading from the bedroom door. To the foot of the couch. The next night. I didn't sleep. I didn't even pretend to try. I waited. Lights on. Phone fully charged. My back to the wall. Watching the hallway. I kept checking the time. 1:46. 2:08. 2:59. And then. 3:12. Right on time. The hallway light flickered once. Then again. And there she was. Closer now. At least 3 feet closer than the night before. I could see the water dripping from her dress. Little puddles gathering around her feet. Her arms hung straight down. Limp. Unmoving. She didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Just stared at me. Like I'd done something wrong. Like I was in her way. I raised my phone. Camera app open. I aimed it down the hallway and took the picture. But on the screen, there was nothing. Just the hallway. Empty. But I swear to you, she was there. I could see her with my eyes. But not on the phone. I looked back up. And now she was even closer. Halfway down the hallway. Still silent. Still dripping. I didn't move. My hand was shaking. I tried to speak. I tried to say, "Who are you?" But my throat wouldn't work. All I could do was stare. And then, she took one step forward. I bolted. I slammed the bathroom door shut. Locked it. Sat on the floor. In the corner, behind the shower curtain. Shaking. Listening. She never knocked. Never tried to open it. But I swear. For hours. I heard that dripping. Just outside the door. Around sunrise. I opened the door. She was gone. But the floor outside the bathroom? Soaked. Like someone had stood there all night. Just, leaking. The next night. I didn't wait in the hallway. I didn't watch the clock. I curled up on the couch, blanket over my head. Pretending none of it had happened. I thought maybe if I ignored her, she'd go away. Then the door creaked open. Not the front door. My bedroom door. It had been shut. Locked, actually. I remember twisting the bolt before I lay down. But now, it was open. And I could hear her steps. But they weren't steps, exactly. They didn't sound like feet. She didn't walk. She drifted. Like wet fabric sliding across tile. I didn't move. My eyes were shut, but not sleeping. Just frozen. Then, she was in front of me. I felt the air change. Cold. Soaked. Like the rain was pouring inside the apartment now. Her mouth opened. Wide. Wider than any human mouth should open. Like she was screaming. But no sound came out. I opened my eyes. And I saw her face. Up close. Pale skin. Veins like black branches. Her eyes were just holes. Dark, gaping voids. And even though she made no noise, I could feel her scream inside my chest. Like pressure. Like my bones were vibrating. I blacked out. Right there. No warning. Like my brain just shut itself off. To survive. I woke up at 6:41 a.m. Light pouring through the blinds. The couch was soaked. And I was freezing. My phone was dead. But the battery hadn't run out. It was fried. Like it had been dropped in water. But I hadn't moved from the couch. I checked the bedroom. Still locked. Still shut. No footprints this time. Just one thing. My closet door was slightly open. And on the inside of the closet, someone had written something. Scratched into the wood. It said, "Don't lock me in again." I didn't go back to sleep. Couldn't. I kept staring at the message carved into my closet door. "Don't lock me in again." The next morning, I called the landlord. Told him something wasn't right. I needed to know what happened in that apartment. He was quiet for a long time. Then he asked. "Third floor?" I told him yes. "Apartment 3B. Another long pause. And then he finally said it. "There was a girl," he said. "She drowned. In the tub. Years ago. It was winter. The heater was out for 2 days. Pipes burst. She was in the bath. Her dad fell asleep drunk in the next room. When they found her," he said, "the water was ice cold. Her fingers were bleeding from scratching at the drain. I felt sick. Like I'd swallowed a mouthful of river water." I asked what happened to the father. He paused again. "He stayed in that apartment," he said, "for another 2 years. But he never spoke again. Just sat there. All day. In the hallway. One night, we found him in the closet. Sitting in the dark. Mouth wide open. Like he'd been screaming. But there was no sound. Same way people described her. I asked if he was still alive. The landlord sighed. Died in the psych unit. He scratched the same message into his wall. "Don't lock me in again." I hung up. Sat there. Alone. Listening to the rain hit the windows. That night. I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't wait. I just sat on the floor outside the closet. With a cup of water. And whispered. "I'm sorry." Nothing happened. No flickering lights. No whispers. No girl. But when I woke up in the morning, the cup was empty. The door was shut. And a small, wet handprint was left on the floor beside me. I moved out the next morning. No bags. Just my phone, my keys, and the shirt on my back. I didn't even lock the door. Just walked away. I didn't look back. I booked a room in a small roadside hotel. It was old, smelled like rust and bleach. But I didn't care. No long hallways. No bathtubs. Just a bed, a lamp, and a mirror on the wall. I didn't sleep right away. Just stared at the clock. 2:58 a.m. 3:04. 3:11. Then. The hallway light, outside my room. Flickered. Just once. Like a slow blink. I held my breath. Walked to the mirror. And that's when I saw her. Not beside me. Not in the hallway. But in the mirror. Behind me. Her dress was still wet. Her hair clung to her face like seaweed. Her mouth. Still wide open. But now her eyes were open. Staring straight into mine. And this time. She was smiling. I turned around, fast. Nothing. Just the empty room. But when I looked back at the mirror, she was closer. That's when I realized. It was never the apartment. It was never the tub. It was me. I saw her. I opened the door. And now she comes to me. Wherever I go. I shut off the lights. Pulled the covers over my head. Like I was a kid again. And just as I started to close my eyes, I heard a voice. A child's whisper. Right next to my ear. "Don't lock me in again. Some say the dead stay where they die. That their pain is tied to the place it happened. That they can't move on, because the house won't let them. But I know better now. She's not stuck to the house. She's stuck to me." I moved again. New apartment. No mirrors. No bathtub. I even stopped using lights at night. Just candles. Just shadows. And for a while. She was quiet. Until one night, I woke up gasping. Choking, like I was underwater. There was no water in the room. No leaks. No burst pipes. Just, the smell of something wet. I looked down at my chest. My shirt was soaked. I stood in front of the bathroom sink. Flicked the candle closer. And written on the mirror were 4 dripping words. Let me sleep too. That's when I realized. I hadn't just seen her. I'd brought her back. And now. She doesn't want to be alone. I started hearing her in my dreams. But not screaming. Not crying. Just humming. A soft, broken melody. Over and over. Sometimes right behind my head. Sometimes under the bed. Sometimes inside my pillow. I tried everything. Sage. Salt. Even slept in churches. But she still comes. Every night. At exactly 3:12 a.m. The candle flickers. The shadows shift. And then the whisper. Don't lock me in again. I haven't slept in days. But that's okay. Because when I close my eyes, she gets closer. And I don't think she wants me to wake up anymore. Thank you for spending this stormy night with us. If this brought you peace, comfort, or rest, please consider subscribing and joining our quiet little corner of the night. New calming stories and sleep sounds await you every evening. Subscribe to the channel. Like, share, sleep deeply.